Successive administrations in Nigeria have made concerted efforts to put its very viral segment in the right stead to take the reign of all facets of development. Recently, the Buhari administration launched the Youth Empowerment Program. The Not Too Young to Run Act is also a testament of the political will to include the youth in mainstream governance in the country. In the light of this, Panorama, coming to you live from our Port Harcourt Network Center, will enunciate fresh insights on more meaningful engagements of the youth. I am Diva Baris Sidoma Weke. Thanks for joining us. President Muhammadu Buhari has expressed Nigeria's commitment to work with an international think tank group and investment promoter, Horace's Global Visions community, towards finding solutions to challenges facing the country. This was at a virtual meeting with members of the various community led by its founder and chairman, Dr. Frank Jürgen Richter, cross-sectional representatives of state governors and corporate organizations in Nigeria. State House correspondent Adamu Sando has the report.
Founded in February 2005, Horace's Global Visions community is a platform for frank discussions and generation of multidisciplinary ideas towards the resolution of multifaceted challenges facing mankind. President Muhammadu Buhari expressed optimism that inputs from the international think tank group will enable the work of government and corporate organizations impact more positively on mankind. The president accepted the request by the group to create its African hub in Nigeria. He also commended their vision for an expanded manufacturing through foreign direct investment to make the country a major beneficiary of the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement coming into effect next year. President Buhari expressed the hope that many corporate organizations in Nigeria will be drawn into the mainstream discussion around several challenges facing the country and indeed the rest of Africa. He stated the commitment of Nigeria to the proposed annual Africa Summit of the organization.
I would like to express sincere appreciation to both Horace's International and Horace's Nigeria for this meeting and looking forward to a robust summit by your organization in Nigeria. I'd like to assure you of our commitment to play our own role to enable Nigeria benefit fully from the outcome of the upcoming meeting for our citizens.
The chairman of the group, Frank Jürgen Richter, commended Nigeria's economic growth in the last few years and gave strong assurances that the Africa Summit will bring the benefits of increased foreign direct investment to Nigeria. Other speakers at the meeting, including the chairman of the Horace's Visions community, Professor Shamsuddin Usman, a former Minister of National Planning, the chairman of Nigeria Governors Forum, Dr. Kayode Fayemi of Ekiti State, and the President, Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, Mansur Ahmed, expressed excitement about the good prospects of increased manufacturing through foreign direct investment, which they say will give a comparative advantage to Nigeria in view of the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
Video conference with Charles Mitchell, President of the later retreated Europe's support for Nigeria's Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala as the next Director General of the World Trade Organization. The President is leading Nigeria's charge for Okonjo-Iweala, the country's former Minister of Finance, to emerge as the first black and female WTO DG. President Buhari thanked the European Council for its support for Nigeria's candidate. Also discussed during the conference were issues bordering on debt relief for Africa-EU-African relations and recharge of the Lake Chad, which has currently shrunk to less than 1/3 of its usual size and throwing about 130 million people who depend on the lake into their straits. Recharge of the Lake Chad is an issue the Nigerian president have vigorously conversed at diverse global fora in recent time. President Buhari expressed appreciation to Mr. Mitchell for expected positive developments on the issues. Youths are able workforce in nation building. As an important segment of the society, government at all levels are making frantic efforts to implement social programs and policies aimed at strategically position them for current and future responsibilities. Ijoma Ogweke in this report x-rayed how young people can be meaningfully engaged for national development.
Before now, government, through its National Youth Development Policy, mapped out programs aimed at engaging young people in skill acquisition, agriculture, small and medium-scale enterprises, and information communication technology. As part of efforts to ensure youths are meaningfully engaged, the federal government recently commenced implementation of its 2.3 trillion naira economic sustainability stimulus plan targeted at young people who are artisans, unemployed, and vulnerable segments of the society.
This will make them grow their businesses. We have young people that have businesses in this country. Okay, some can go into farming, can go to different things. Until we encourage the private sector to employ more youth, we have not started.
A lot of manpower here, but they are not organized and mobilized in the right direction.
As youths constitute a critical segment with responsible challenging actions to create social change in the society, their engagement in planning and participation in decisions that affects them, analysts say, are paramount. Hence, they sued for proper engagement of youths in politics and leadership positions.
Give them adequate education. Apart from giving them adequate education, also give them meaningful employment. Apart from meaningful employment, it's an environment where those who want to be self-employed can be self-employed.
As keen observers advocate that government creates an enabling environment by taking a holistic approach to industrialize the nation, it behoves on young people to advance the correct technology, education, politics, and health system of the country. In Port Harcourt, Ijoma Ogweke, NTA News.
With me in the studio to throw more light on youth engagement for national development is Apostle Zili Agri, General Overseer of Royal House of Grace International. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, we're looking at the youth. Let's start from the basics. Who is a youth and why is his contribution important to nation building?
Of course, there are young people, male and female young ones. We saw them recently, so they defined it themselves recently. Young people.
Okay. So why is it that their contributions to nation building?
For me, if they do not contribute and if they are not allowed to contribute, then there's no future for the country. We have a very recent past history of very young people who were able to do so much in the 60s and even in the 50s. Those who fought for the independence of Nigeria, they were in a very, very young age. And then up till about 1979 when the late President Shehu Shagari became president of Nigeria, he appointed people like Patu Tumi at the age of 27 or thereabout as special advisors to the president. So we have a very, very near history of young people that have contributed so much to national development. But 30 years later, why have we gotten to this point as an issue now?
Okay. So whose duty is it to prepare them as future leaders, since the youth are the future leaders of the country?
Well, it's government, first of all. Then government will now be able to know who and who they should engage to be able to engage these youths and prepare them. For instance, there was a particular gentleman who was governor of a particular state in this country. When he came to be the governor of the state, he did a summit on every sector of the state, and then after the summit, he put everything together, and for 4 years, he was able to achieve so much. So what I think the government should do at this point in time, being the principal persons that will help the youths out, is to see how they can do a national summit on youth development and bring in experts so that at the end of the day, they can produce a blueprint, short-term, medium-term and long-term plan on how we should engage the youth. My own idea is that we have an NYSC program which is only for graduates. And even that NYSC program, yeah, it's good, but you just give youths 2 weeks orientation program and then let them go. We need to make sure that there is a program that is similar to an NYSC program that will change the thinking of our young people, because the Bible says that you'll be transformed by the renewing of your mind. The mind of our young people are not renewed. Now, even the politics we have in this country, we do not even have politics of ideology. That's why you see people move from one political party to another political party. In some countries, like you have the Democrats, you can have a Democrat for 30, 40 years of his lifetime. His children become Democrats, or a Republican because of ideology. So we must begin to plan in making sure that even the children will begin to grow up with certain. Right now what we have is either ethnic ideology, religious ideology, or some type of things that control the mind of our people. We need to take a new narrative altogether, and the government has a lot to do. They should consult with people, for instance, teachers in the schools, pastors, imams. These are the people who talk to the youths almost on a weekly basis. You do not just say we have a federal ministry of youths, therefore we will not engage the pastors, the imams, and then the lecturers and the teachers in the schools, because they talk to the youths all the time. We can now develop something that in every church service, even if it is for 10 minutes, for every lecture, it doesn't matter the department, in every mosque, in every church, that youth should be told these things for a period of time. And after a while, their thinking will change and they will become exactly what we want them to be to develop this country. If we don't do it now, whatever that is engaging their minds through the social media will still control them.
From the illustrations you've given as a nation, are we failing in this responsibility?
Well, so far every government that has come on board have tried their best, but the best is not good enough as of today. And because the best is not good enough, that is why the symptoms of the best is not good enough is what is showing up. Therefore, we know that the current government is very concerned, so they should do more by engaging experts in handling this problem.
Okay, so how can we enhance citizens' participation in national development, especially the youths?
For the youths, like I said, we have a lot of Nigerian youths that are doing very, very well, even outside the country. In fact, some years ago, a preacher said that he was reading the Herald newspaper in the plane, and he discovered that England is now selling in one of their supermarkets, Tesco. They are selling an onions that does not, hurt the eyes. So he was wondering what happened, and then he found out that they now plant onions, the same onions, but they treat the ground first of all and remove all the sulfur and then plant. So the very onions that hurt your eyes is because it is planted in a ground that has sulfur, a lot of sulfur. Now, when our youths go out of this country, they do so well. Just recently, a Nigerian policewoman has been rated in the UN as the best female police officer. Every time our police people go out on foreign missions, our soldiers, they come back with laurels and good. But when they come back home, what happens is because the sulfur content here is so high, so performance rate is low. So we should now look for a way to take away the sulfur content. And you must put round pegs in round holes, square pegs in square holes. Get experts. I was telling someone the other day, how do you appoint a finance guru, a man who is a finance guru, the doyen of modern banking, as Minister for Science and Technology, and you don't want to put him there as Minister for Finance? How do you take a legal guru and make him Minister for Power? Round pegs in round holes, square pegs in square holes. Get experts and professionals. Avoid anything that has to do with ethnicism, tribalism. Don't appoint people into positions of authority based on nepotism because he's from my village or my community, my brother or my sister, and he's not an expert. They will fail. Let's look for the best person. They don't have to be members of your political party if they can deliver. You take somebody who is a trader and then make him a minister for an aviation. How will he transform the aviation industry? So for me, let's just go back to the drawing board and sit down. Let's not blame anybody again and say, you are wrong, I am right. Let's go back, look for experts. Nigeria is loaded with the best of brains, but we haven't tapped into them. Some former rulers of this country I won't mention, they may not be too intelligent, but they gathered the best of brains that help them to do some things. I was speaking to a political leader the other day. I said, look for the best hands you can find. Don't just say these are members of my party, I want to patronize them because they campaigned for me. Otherwise, you just go around the wilderness. After 4 years, you have not done anything.
So finally, apart from what you just said now, what is your closing thoughts to the youths and then to Nigerians?
Youths of Nigeria, we share with your pain. We want to ask that you give the government some time to come up with their best to make sure that you become participators, not just in governance, but for national development. Remember this, the hospital you destroy today might be where you want to be treated tomorrow. The market you destroy today might be where you need to buy tomorrow. Therefore, protect and preserve our national properties, because it is not the buildings that offended you. Please, we beg you all, and let's see how we can help the government to sort out this problem. They have heard you loud and clear, and I believe the people in power are very sensible. They are doing some things about it.
Thank you very much, sir,
God
for
bless Nigeria.
joining us in the studio. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. And that was Apostle Zile Agri throwing more light on youth engagement in national development. Panorama will continue right after the break. Stay tuned. Welcome back. The Inspector General of Police inaugurated a 9-man committee to assess losses suffered by the Nigerian police force during the end-SARS protests across the country. The IGP noted that the assessment will aid strategic planning, reconstruction and re-equipment. The chairman of the committee, CP Abutu Yaro, has been charged by the IGP to see the assignment as a call to service which must be undertaken with purposefulness, empathy, dedication and sacrifice.
One, to physically visit the scenes and capture the pictorials of all damages done to police infrastructure and personnel. 2, establish the weapons holding that were lost during the incident. 3, verify the fatalities suffered by the police. 4, undertake visit to the families of the deceased police officers and those injured.
Having earlier ordered the suspension of all enforcement activities of the Federal Road Safety Corps as a result of the upsurge of the end-SARS protests across the country, the Corps Marshal, Federal Road Safety Corps Boboyo Yeyemi, has ordered the immediate resumption of all operational activities in the FRSC formations across the country, as he mourns the victims of the unfortunate fatal crash that occurred in Enugu State, where 21 persons lost their lives out of the 56 people involved in the crash. The Corps Marshal gave the order in a memo to commanding officers following the urgent need to keep the roads safe, enforce maximum compliance to road traffic regulations and safety guides, as well as to forestall incidences of crashes and fatalities on the highways. The Corps Marshal stressed that the Corps is ready to put all within its operational might to ensure that such fatalities are averted on our roads. And one of the key strategies towards achieving this is the deployment of personnel and increased visibility of patrol teams on the highways. If peace and security are to be sustained in any nation, then women must be actively involved, especially in decision and peacemaking process for tranquility to prevail. This is the consensus of different women groups at the 20th anniversary of the United Nations Security Resolution 1325 on women, peace and security held in Abuja. Momso Demian Dati reports.
Just like the song says, women in Nigeria, their development partners, diplomatic corps, as well as other supporters are exploring all possible avenues to promote gender inclusiveness and sustainable peace in Nigeria.
And as women, we believe we have a role to play individually and collectively, will continue to play that role.
Promoting women's effective participation and substantive involvement in all issues around peace building.
Is to commend Nigeria over the last 20 years for being one of the leading countries in Africa deploying women to peacekeeping missions.
Considering the role of women as peace builders in conflict situations, it becomes necessary to come up with a national action plan.
When there is peace, the world prospers. Life goes on without threat. I therefore call on all to embrace peace in all its ramifications. The resolution is hinged on 4 pillars of prevention, participation, protection, and peace building.
The United Nations Security Resolution builds on a body of international human rights laws with consideration for the place of women and girls. In Abuja, Momso Damien Dati, NTA News.
Has always been in the front burner of national discourse. However, the anti-corruption agencies in the country still believe that the task of enforcing proper code of conduct, particularly among public officers, still remains a challenge. The House of Representatives Committee on Ethics and Privileges is addressing this among its peers in the Green Chamber. Olabode Arewa has details.
One of the major fulcrums on which the Buhari administration stands is the fight against corruption. Though it has recorded some successes, the House of Representatives, through its Ethics Committee, is supporting the effort with this training on how to deepen good ethical conduct in public service.
Also, it enables us to hold other arms of government accountable. So that they can do what is right and do it in time for it to be seen as right.
It is the work that this committee is doing that will ensure proper governance and proper legislative code of ethics and compliance.
The forum is of the view that tightening the loopholes observed in the enforcement of the national ethics and integrity policy could be tackled with proper oversight and enforcement.
It didn't matter how much Nigeria voted to any sector. As long as we fail or refuse to deal with this problem of corruption, we are never going to see the fruit.
The Code of Conduct has also been given enforcement powers to ensure compliance with Code of Conduct for public officers.
I think we should salute the House of Representatives in Nigeria. Since 2004, they've been at the forefront in trying to bring about their own code of ethics.
Anti-corruption agencies at the meeting also want quick passage of anti-corruption bills that will speed up the fight against improper conduct in the country. In Abuja, Olabode Arewa, NTA News.
For Nigeria to rise above ethnic, religious and political biases in choosing leaders is a necessary step to addressing the challenges confronting the country. Governor Mike harped on this when he granted audience to the leadership of the Nigerian Guild of Editors at Government House, Port Harcourt. Ogediyepo reports.
The role of Nigerian Guild of Editors in nation building is critical given the realities. This necessitates the call on the editors to nip in the bud the issues of religion and ethnicity clogging the wheel of progress through their reportage. Governor Wike challenged members of the guild to rise up to their responsibilities by unraveling, exposing and holding accountable those in positions of authority.
When you challenge people in authority, we have no choice but to perform. Because when we don't perform, you will be able to expose that we are not doing well.
President, Nigerian Guild of Editors, Mustafa Issa, pledged the association's support for authentic information dissemination.
Keep up your good job, Your Excellency. We are, as a friend, we will say, okay, this Hagon is a friend, what do we do to help him? We have to do nothing. You know why? Because you're performing. Our duty is just to help you publicize what you are doing, which is the right direction.
The governor later led the leadership of the Nigerian Guild of Editors on inspection of some ongoing projects in the state.
I believe that a good work doesn't need description.
it tells its own story.
The projects inspected include the Rebisi and GRA flyover bridges, the Real Madrid Academy, as well as the Mother and Child Hospital in Port Harcourt. Ogedinyekwere, NTA News.
On the 30th of October 2020, 170 new confirmed cases of COVID-19 were recorded in Nigeria. To date, 62,691 cases have been confirmed, 58,430 cases discharged, and 1,144 deaths have been recorded. The 170 new cases are reported from 11 states, and they include Lagos 106, FCT 25, Oyo 14, Edo and Kaduna 7, Ogun 4, Bauchi and Benue 2 cases. Kano, Osun, and Rivers has a case each. And a sports update. Friends Battlefields in the 2020 Prudent Energy Handball Premier League will start Saturday in Abuja. Bade Adeleye gives us details on sports update.
All is now set for Phase 1 of the Prudent Energy Handball Premier League, which throws off this Saturday at the Moshood Abiola National Stadium, Abuja. The one pairings will see Kano Pillars begin their title defense against former champions Niger United, with the defenders facing Safety Shooters. In the women's category, defending champions Safety Babes face Edo Dynamos, with Defender Babes and Seasider Babes facing off.
We're all very happy, we're excited, we're looking forward to having our lives back as it relates to sport.
To football, the Nigeria Football Federation has revealed the Super Eagles will resume campaign for the forthcoming Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers on the 9th of November in Benin City. The 2013 African champions take on the Leon Stars of Sierra Leone on Friday, 13th November 2020 at the Samuel Ogbemudia Stadium before traveling to Freetown for the return fixture on Tuesday, 17th November. Coach